This week's game of the week is Atomfall. Yeah, this game looks incredible. And look, as a fan of Fallout, I am super intrigued by this video game. Plus, the other thing that I think is worth noting here is Atomfall was developed by Rebellion, which that name doesn't sound familiar, Rebellion is the studio who made Sniper Elite and Zombie Army, which has given us countless hours on social media of sniper footage of people just shooting off the balls of Nazis or just blowing off the heads of zombies. And the idea that they're now taking all of that world and all of that experience that they have and putting it into like their version of a Fallout game, I think is super intriguing. The other thing that was really kind of interesting about this game is IGN came out this week and said that Atomfall is a mix of Fallout meets Elden Ring. And they said that because like the open world is filled with mystery and you're trying to figure out like who you are. But honestly, I don't see it. When I look at this trailer and I look at the gameplay and I've seen all the streams this week, I see a Fallout game here. I see a great British bake-off version of Fallout. And look, obviously we're going to dive into what makes this game special, but I do think it's important to kind of dive into what the majority of the people who have played it and what the reviews are saying. So let's go ahead and pull up the Metacritic score. Right now, Atomfall has a 75% on Metacritic. And, that's not as high as some people were hoping. And then you go through here, there's a lot of mixed reviews. And I think that that's super apparent, especially when we get to the actual reviews and what some of the publications are saying. So let's go ahead and pull that one up real quick. First up, IGN gave Atomfall an 8 out of 10. Eurogamer gave it a 3 out of 5. GameSpot gave the game a 7 out of 10. Gaming Bible gave Atomfall a 9 out of 10. Games Radar Plus gave it a 4.5 out of 5. And Push Square gave Atomfall an 8 out of 10. 4.5 out of 5 is a really weird one, right? Games Radar Plus, love you guys, but that's a really weird score. Like, it's good enough to be a 4, but it's not good enough to be a 5. We're just right in the middle. I feel like you're skirting the line. Like, it's almost a perfect game, but, there was a couple misspells. It was just not spelled properly. There was a couple grammatical errors that we couldn't get behind. I don't know how I feel about half scores there. And look, this game has caused a lot of mixed reviews. Like we said, you look at the Metacritic score, you look at what they're trying to accomplish over there, and there are some people being like, hold up, yes, this is a fun game. Yes, it's a really beautiful looking game, but it's not game of the year. And I think that's perfectly fine. Not every single game that is going to release this year should be game of the year, but Atomfall looks like a game that you could totally play this week and completely just dive yourself into it and escape from the world, which I think is what we need right now. And it's also the conversation of like 2025 has been a nuts year for gaming, right? We got Atomfall this week, Assassin's Creed Shadows, we had Split Fiction, Doom Eternal's coming down, we got a new Pokemon game coming, we got a brand new Metroid game coming, Grand Theft Auto 6 might grace us with their presence this year. It's a crazy year for gaming, but that's where this becomes tough, right? Because Atomfall is definitely the best game that launched this week, which is why we're saying Game of the Week. But there are going to be people who are like, this does not deserve Game of the Week contender. Whereas I'm like, no, I think if you look at the games that launched, this is definitely the best game. And I think it looks super intriguing. And I'd like to kind of talk about the things that I think are super cool about this and the things that are pulling me into the game. Now, in case you're not aware, Atomfall is a survival action video game inspired by the real-life Windfall nuclear disaster in England. Whereas in Atomfall, the game basically takes place 5 years after the disaster, and you are by the meltdown plant, and you're just like cut off from the rest of the world in like this British countryside. And some of the things that I think are really cool here, and some of the things I think are really cool, and I've seen during like the Atomfall streams, this game is very liberal in how it allows you to journey. The map itself is not like flooded with side quests. In a lot of these open world action adventure games, you're just basically like, oh man, here's something for me to do. Here's something for me to do. Whereas in Atomfall, like many of the missions and side quests are uncovered from just like walking up to people and having conversations. Or I think IGN discussed how like having smoke coming out of the chimney, and that's supposed to draw your attention that you need to go to this building. So I think it's really cool that it literally lets you play this game how you want to play. Plus, the missions you decide to do and the way you do them impacts the ending of the game. So there are multiple scenarios to change the outcome of this game. Another thing that I think is really cool about Atomfall is the fact that the hero or the player that you're playing is not a hero. Right? He's just like an average Joe. And yeah, I feel like Atomfall really grounds you as a player, right? Like you're an average Joe. You're not like Rambo. You're not a killing machine. And you got to manage things like your heart rate. So when you're swinging your bat or you're swinging the cricket bat, you're kind of managing, not making sure you're not running out of breath. And honestly, I know there are people out there who hate that, but I, for one, I feel like I'm finally seen in a video game, right? I always laugh at the games where I just go in and I'm like, I'm a cardio machine. I can fight all day. Finally, Atomfall comes along and they're like, hey, this game is for the guy who gets exhausted tying his shoes in the morning. I feel seen. And thank you, Rebellion. I really appreciate that. And the final thing that I think that we really should point out here is this game is not Fallout, but it is very Fallout-y. I know IGN is like, it's kind of like Elden Ring. It's very Fallout. Inside of this game, there are like cultists, there's robotic enemies, you got to explore caverns, and there's shelters that have like loot, and even some of the conversation prompts that come up, I'm like, ooh, that looks very Fallout-y, which isn't a bad thing, right? Like, I don't want anyone to take that and be like, oh man, the devs can't make their own genre, they're just ripping off Fallout, man. No, it's like, hey, I think that what we have here is Rebellion has come along and they're like, oh, we love Fallout, we're inspired by Fallout. Let's see what our take would be on a Fallout-style game. And I hope we see more developers try to make a Fallout game, right? Like, maybe in the future, when we say things like Metroidvania or like a roguelike, we'll then say, oh, this is like a Fallout game, right? That'll be the description for the genre. So hopefully Rebellion is the first of many that'll kind of get into this genre, and we'll kind of grow and explore it there. But yeah, shout out to the team at Rebellion. Atomfall is our game of the week, and it is available right now for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox.